you all know the rules. You can't have a supercar paddock at the Goodwood Festival of Speed without having at least 2 completely mental Lamborghinis. And the first is this one over here, the Huracan STO. Looks quite a bit different to your standard Huracan Evo, doesn't it? And that's because this is basically a GT3 race car for the road. It's rear-wheel drive, it's got rear-wheel steering, it's still got the 5.2 litre naturally aspirated V10, which we like, 631 horsepower, but the key numbers here are it's 43 kilograms lighter than a Performante, but produces 50% more downforce. Yeah, it's going to be an absolute animal around the track. Loads and loads of grip, but I'm told you can just turn it all off into a Hero STO mode and slide it about, even if you don't have the skills of Chris Harris, which is good news. By the way, 260 grand for this. A lot of money, don't get me wrong, but not nearly as much as an AMG GT Black Series, so decent value. If you're looking to spend a bit more though, this is what you want over here. This is the craziest, the maddest, the most extreme interpretation of an Aventador that you could possibly get. It's called the Essenza SCV12, and the reason it's decked out in this rather fetching orange camo here is because this is a prototype. They are delivering cars to customers already. They're only going to make 40 of these, costing 2.2 million quid each. Look, we're in that kind of crazy 2 million plus realm here. And the idea here is, much like Ferrari's FXX program, the FXXK, it's a gentleman racer. It's a car you can only use on the track. Lamborghini wants to look after the car for you at the factory, and then you call them up. You scramble the Lamborghini phone and they can deliver this to any track you want. Plus there's sort of 5 race events during the year. So not a proper racing series, but just a way of gentlemen, very rich gentleman drivers getting better. They get instructed by Lamborghini's top Le Mans winning drivers. And look around the back, because this is where the drama happens. In there, the most powerful V12 the Lamborghini's ever plumbed in, 830 horsepower, 6.5 litre V12 revving to 8,750 peak power at 8,500 RPM, and it's on straight pipes. So if you've ever heard an Aventador at full chat, well, it's that times about 10. This is, without doubt, going to be the loudest thing going up the hill at Goodwood. And you've noticed the tail, it's quite long. It's a long tail Lamborghini. That's because they bolted on an X-Track sequential 6-speed gearbox. They couldn't put it that way behind the seats between the engine and the driver. They've had to rotate the engine 180 degrees, bolt the gearbox, sorry, on the back of it. Hence you get this rather fetching elongated shape. You also get a bit of aero, 1,200 kilograms of downforce at 150 miles an hour, which is amazing because it only weighs under 1,500 kilograms all in. And the interior, as you can probably imagine, is quite sparse. So I'm going to dive in, hope nobody stops me, and show you how it works. I'm stuck. No, there's something up my bum. And I'm in. Simple as that. Right, come and have a look at this. They've stripped out everything. They've stripped out everything. You have a screen up here which gives you various bits of data, but the idea with this car is to have absolutely everything in front of you on this F1 inspired steering wheel, and I have been taken through it, what all these buttons do. There's your ABS, there's your traction control, so you can adjust it on the fly with your thumbs. This is for preloading the diff, which basically alters the oversteer, understeer characteristics on the fly. There's your pit limiter, that does something. That's windscreen wipers. This one looks like a glass of milk. No idea what that does. You do have air conditioning, which is nice because with that much engine behind you, it's going to get absolutely boiling in here. And that's it really. They say it's quite straightforward to drive. Once you figured out the buttons and fired up the engine and managed the quite tricky clutch and moved off, and taken into account that you've probably got too much power for your cold rear tyres and you're going to be sliding everywhere, it's easy to drive, apparently. Fortunately, I won't be driving this car today. That duty goes to one of Lamborghini's most decorated pro drivers, Andrea Caldarelli. I hope I've pronounced that right. I'm going to be in that seat over here as we drive up the Goodwood Hill. You'll probably hear us coming.
Okay. We're on.
We're on?
Yeah.
All right, the speed of this thing.
At the moment, it's an almost nothing, but we're gonna have some fun going up.
Forget 830 horsepower. This is to manpower.
Yeah,
at the
exactly.
moment. So this looks like, from the outside, the most intimidating car to drive. You know,
but
it's the noise, the size of it, the length.
Especially if you look at the
buttons.
Yeah, the buttons and everything. But I have to be honest, it's one of the easiest car I ever driven. It's the biggest difference we have is that we have a V12. It's very big engine, and that makes even more difficult to design something easy to drive. Yeah. When we put the car down on the ground, actually my first comment was, wow, we have so much traction. And I was expecting, 835 horsepower, V12, rear-wheel drive, like very rough, aggressive. And then I was like, what did you do on the rear, cinematic? Because it's such nice car to drive on traction. It's amazing. The track condition is very
bit wet,
especially here next to the corner.
Yeah. Cold tires.
Yeah, unfortunately we are not allowed to have heaters.
Well, I've signed my waiver.
That's fine. He's fine.
Yeah, we're good.
Going now.
You ready?
Yeah,
we're going now.
Bye.
No idea whether you're going to be able to hear us. Here we go. It's on the start line. The reaction of the crowd was brilliant. They were all just going, ah! I think the noise from the outside is even crazier than in here.
It's so slippery.
Yeah.
You saw
on the start line, you were just...
Yeah.
I think, mate, what is it? What is this car?
It's just a track car.
Beautiful, lovely car. Lovely. Fun to drive?
It is.
Yeah.
But I'm sure for you guys going up the hill with
slippery.
this mud.
Very slippery.
Good.
Oh, great stuff. Good. Enjoy.
Cheers.
That wasn't that astronaut Tim Peake, was it?
I think,
Tim Peake?
Yeah, I think it was
the
him.
man who's been to the space station.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it looks like
I was about
him.
to go, oi, are you Tim Peake? And then he's like,
I
no,
didn't really
I'm
want
Jeff.
to say.